What if everything you believed to be solid, unchanging, and secure was nothing more than an illusion? What if, right before your eyes, the world was being shaped by invisible forces, unknown even to those who think they are in control? Imagine a truth that cannot be seen, but that touches every aspect of our lives. It could be in a decision you made yesterday, in the way you look at the sky, or even in the racing rhythm of your heart as you hear these words. Today we dive into a journey that promises to challenge your perceptions, reveal the hidden, and transform the known into an even greater mystery. Throughout history, humanity has always sought answers. Why are we here? Who or what brought us to this moment? But what if the answers lay not in the things we can see, touch, or measure, but in the empty spaces, in the invisible connections between events, in the silent forces that move the universe? Think of a spider web. When you observe carefully, you notice how each thread, although individual, is part of something larger, supporting the whole. Now, imagine that you are one of those lines, a small part of something infinitely complex. But here's the mystery. Who spun the web? For centuries, philosophers, scientists, and visionaries have tried to understand the hidden patterns that connect our lives. The famous physicist Nikola Tesla once said, "If you want to discover the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." But what does this really mean? Energy we can't see, frequencies we can't hear, vibrations that course through the universe in an eternal whisper. And it is at this point that we begin to explore the unknown. What appears to be random may not be. What appears to be chaos may actually be a plan. And what appears to be destiny may just be the consequence of choices made by forces far beyond our understanding. Take, for example, the story of a young man who decided to change his daily commute for no apparent reason. That simple, seemingly irrelevant act placed him in the exact place, at the exact moment, where he met the person who would change his life forever. Coincidence, or something else? When we start to look at these coincidences more closely, we notice patterns that don't make sense at first glance, but when connected, create a mosaic of infinite possibilities. As if life were a puzzle where each piece has a purpose, even if we don't immediately understand how it fits together. And that leads us to an uncomfortable question. Are we really in control? Or are we puppets of something bigger, something we can barely understand? What if the choices we believe are ours were influenced by something we never considered? Behind every choice, every event, every seemingly casual encounter, there may be an energy that moves the pieces on an invisible board. Some call it destiny, others chance. But what is really at stake? In the end, the question that matters is not whether or not you believe in these invisible forces. The real question is, are you ready to look beyond the surface and explore what's hidden in the shadows? The answer may be closer than you think, but be careful. Understanding what moves the world can forever change the way you see it. We believe we have control, but do we know who is really pulling the strings? The events around us, no matter how mundane they may seem, can hide secrets that shape our lives in ways we never imagine. Imagine this. You're sitting at home, planning your day. Decide to go to the supermarket. It seems like a trivial decision, something we do without thinking too much. But the moment you step outside your home, a world of possibilities is activated. Maybe you'll bump into someone who will become a friend, or maybe that path will lead you away from something you'll never know you lost. Now ask yourself, what really led you to make that specific choice at that exact moment? For many, this is just chance. But when we start to put the dots of our lives together, we realize that chance has an alarming frequency of shaping pivotal moments. Think about an event in your own life that changed everything. It could have been meeting someone, accepting a last-minute chance, or even being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now reflect. If one little thing had been different, what would have happened? Stories like these are not rare. In 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand decided to change his itinerary in Sarajevo, insisting on a shorter route. What seemed like a practical choice turned into the trigger for the First World War, when he was murdered en route. A small adjustment, a moment of hesitation, and the story could have taken a completely different direction. But was it really a random decision? What you're seeing here is a pattern, simple moments that open doors to the extraordinary. And the most curious thing is that these patterns not only shape historical events, but they also affect each of us, every day. I'll tell you another story, perhaps even closer to our reality. In 1989, a man named Joe saw a woman dropping her keys in a grocery store parking lot. He hesitated for a moment, but decided to help her. It was love at first sight. They got married, had 2 children, and built a life together. But years later, Joe discovered he almost didn't go to the grocery store that day. He thought about canceling the trip due to traffic, but changed his mind at the last minute. This small decision transformed his entire existence. And then comes the question, are we really in control of these decisions, or does something deeper guide us? Science is beginning to shed light on this. Neuroscience researchers have discovered that our brains often make decisions seconds before we are consciously aware of them. Think about it, something in you already knows what to do before you even realize it. What does this mean? Are our choices really in our hands? On the other hand, philosophers and spiritualists suggest that these invisible connections can be explained by something greater, something that transcends science and enters the realm of the inexplicable. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, seemingly disconnected events that somehow create meaning when they occur together. And here's something that will resonate with you. Maybe right now when you watch this video you're not here by chance. Maybe you clicked because something inside you knows it's time to start connecting the dots. What if chance, which you always believed to be uncontrollable, was actually a predictable mechanism? What if the coincidences that marked your life weren't as random as they seem? Imagine this. You are walking down an unfamiliar street, lost in thought. As he turns a corner, he comes across a person he hasn't seen in years. You exchange a few words, memories come to the surface, and suddenly, this conversation generates an opportunity that changes everything. What is the probability of this happening? You might even think, it's pure luck, but is it really? The truth is that the world we live in is deeply connected, far beyond what our eyes can see. Neuroscientist Dean Radin, in his research on consciousness, suggested that the human mind may be tuned to a universal informational field, a kind of invisible network that connects all living beings. Radin tested seemingly inexplicable events, such as people sensing that something important is about to happen, and found that often this intuition is not mere superstition, but something real. Quantum physics is beginning to give us clues about how this might be possible. In 2002, the experiment known as double slit demonstrated something frightening. Simply observing a particle changes its behavior. Think about this for a moment. Just the act of looking at something changes reality. This means that our intentions and perceptions can shape the world around us, even if in ways we don't yet fully understand. And here's the question that changes everything. If our choices create reality, who would you become if you truly believe that? The issue goes beyond science or spirituality. It's about how you view your own life, the opportunities you passed up, the mistakes you swore to avoid, the people you chose to keep by your side. They all create ripples, and these waves, no matter how small, impact the world in ways you may never realize. Writer and thinker Alan Watts said, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in one drop." What he meant is that we are part of something much bigger, but we are also the creators of that something bigger. It's an idea that's as liberating as it is frightening. And now I ask you, if every choice is a point in a larger web, what happens when you change direction? Can you see what's coming, or will you continue to believe it's just luck when something unexpected happens? What if, when you look back, you could see how every decision, every moment, and even every mistake was part of something bigger? Something that, in some way, was always there, waiting for you to notice. When you think about your life, it seems like there are moments that make sense, like pieces fitting into an invisible puzzle. But what about the parts that seem lost, the paths that went wrong, or the opportunities that slipped by? Are they really disjointed fragments, or is there a logic behind it all that you haven't yet realized? Science and philosophy agree on one crucial point. The way we connect the dots in our lives profoundly shapes the way we live. This is what psychologists call life narrative. Basically, human beings do not just experience events. We tell stories about them, stories that can free us or imprison us. And these stories have power. In a study conducted by Dan McAdams, one of the leading researchers in narrative psychology, it was observed that people who see their life as a journey full of meaning even with difficulties and setbacks, tend to be more resilient, happy, and fulfilled. Meanwhile, those who see themselves as victims of circumstances, who believe that life is just a succession of random events, often feel lost and directionless. But why does this happen? Simple. The human brain is a connection machine. It is designed to find patterns even where they don't exist. This explains why we see faces in the clouds or believe that a random event has a greater purpose. But what if, instead of an illusion, these connections are real? Think of the famous case of Winston Churchill. During his childhood, he almost drowned, but was saved by a gardener working on his family's property. Years later, Churchill, now an adult, suffered from severe pneumonia, and the antibiotic that saved his life was developed based on studies funded by none other than Alexander Fleming, the man whose father was the gardener who rescued him. Coincidence? Perhaps. But what matters here isn't just chance. It's how we view these events and what we do with them. Let's take a step back for a moment. Think about the last big choice you made. It could have been accepting a new job, ending a relationship, or even deciding to watch this video. But what now? If you look closer, can you see the waves this decision created? The opportunities that arose, the connections you made, or even the challenges that pushed you down an unexpected path? That's the power of connecting the dots. When you start to see life as a series of connected choices, perception changes. What once seemed like a mistake or a detour may actually be the cornerstone of a larger plan. But how do you know which points to connect? Here's the surprising answer: you don't need to know. Often, clarity only comes after the pieces are already in place. And this is not just philosophy. In 1978, American psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi conducted research into the state of flow, that moment when we are so involved in an activity that we lose track of time. He found that people often only understand the meaning of their actions long after they have performed them. The point here is simple. Life doesn't require you to have all the answers right now. It just demands that you keep moving forward. But what about when things don't seem to make sense? Just when everything seems to be falling apart? At these times, it's easy to feel lost, like you're outside the web that connects everything. But here's the secret. Moments of chaos are also part of the story. In fact, many of humanity's greatest advances were born out of chaos. Mathematician Henri Poincaré once said, "Chaos is just an order that has not yet been deciphered." Want an example? Think about the internet. Today, it is the backbone of global communication, but its creation was chaotic. It emerged from a mix of military, academic, and commercial projects without a clear plan for where it would take us. Yet this chaos has connected the world in ways no one could have predicted. And that's what life does. It connects, reorganizes, and redefines. Sometimes it seems confusing, but over time it reveals a pattern. Now let's bring this back to you. If you could look at your life from above, as an observer, what patterns would you see? What dots are still waiting to be connected? And most importantly, what story do you want to tell about them? Everything we've discussed so far points to one profound truth. You are both the creator and participant of your story. The choices you make matter, but sometimes the choices you don't make matter even more. The question is, are you paying attention? Everything you've experienced, every choice you've made, every moment of doubt and every step into the unknown, none of it has been in vain. Now, it's time to see the whole picture. We have reached the deepest point of this journey. By now, you've learned that life is much more connected and intricate than it seems. That chance, coincidences, and even moments of chaos are part of a larger fabric. But here's the ultimate truth. The power to turn all of this into something extraordinary is, and always has been, in your hands. Imagine your life as a book. Every choice you made, every person you met, every opportunity you grabbed or let pass by is a word, a sentence, a chapter. Sometimes the story seems incoherent. Other times the chapters seem too long, too painful. But what makes this book unique, what makes its story memorable, is how you decide to write it from now on. Remember the idea that our perceptions shape reality. Science has already shown us that the simple act of observing can change the behavior of subatomic particles. If this is true on such a fundamental level, imagine the impact your intentions and choices have on the world around you. The universe is waiting for you to look at it in a new way, waiting for you to make meaning of your experiences, connect the dots, and create something powerful. Think about all the stories we've shared throughout this video, from the unlikely coincidences that changed lives to the hidden patterns that guide our choices. All these stories have something in common. They show that even in moments of uncertainty, there is a common thread, something that connects the past to the present and opens the way to the future. And now it's up to you to decide how to use this yarn. You can choose to ignore connections, continue living on autopilot, letting circumstances dictate the course of your life. Or you can choose to look beyond it, take control and become the conscious author of your own story. What will be your choice? Here's a simple but transformative exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and think about 3 key events in your life. They could be achievements, losses, or even moments that seemed insignificant at the time. Now ask yourself, how did these events bring me here? What lessons did they teach me? What doors did they open or close? You will see that even the most difficult moments have something to offer. But the most important revelation is this: the meaning you give to these events is what really matters. It's not about what happened, but about how you choose to interpret, grow, and move forward from it. And here's the great truth: the power to connect the dots is not in discovering a divine plan or in deciphering all the mysteries of the universe. It's realizing that you are part of this universe, that your actions create waves, and that by accepting your story and consciously shaping it, you can influence more than you ever imagined. Now look ahead. Every day is a blank page. Every decision is an opportunity to create something new. Every choice you make, even the small ones, has the potential to transform not only your life, but also the world around you. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to take the next step. Subscribe to the channel now to continue this journey of self-discovery and transformation. Like this video if it touched you in any way and share it with someone you care about. And in the comments tell me which point in your story are you most eager to connect. Thank you for embarking on this journey with me. This is just the beginning. In the next content, we'll explore how to turn intentions into real actions and how to use the power of connections to achieve everything you want. Until then, keep observing, keep connecting, and above all, keep writing your story. See you soon.